I'm not trying to be mean here, but goth people actually do ruin things for a lot of other people. And here's why. It has to do with the term witchcraft, it has to do with our seasons, and it has to do with, telling people that Satan loves you, which is totally not true. Okay, so here's why. They like to call light working witchcraft. So they'll take like light working practices and they'll call it witchcraft. And then everybody gets confused, everybody gets scared, and they say, like, oh, it's against the Bible, I'm not touching that. When in reality, a lot of the times what they're doing is light working and they're putting themselves in positive frequencies rather than it actually being witchcraft. Witchcraft is actually going to be referred to as like black magic and like dark energy and bad frequencies and like pain and suffering and all that stuff. That's going to be witchcraft, but light working is completely different, even though they kind of look the same, but they're totally not the same thing. In fact, if you read between the lines, if you look deeper into the Bible, they actually do encourage that you are light working. That's why when you see everybody cleansing their energies and meditating and doing all this stuff, they think it's witchcraft. Like, oh, look at all your herbs and stuff. And they think that's witchcraft. They think using herbs is witchcraft, but it's actually called light working. So don't get confused on that stuff, all right? It's actually really good for you. It's not scary. It's not bad. It's not bad. All right. Another thing is that with the seasons, goth people like to say it's Halloween all of the time. And the reason why this is so bad is because you are a gardener. Like, as a human communicating with the plants, you are a gardener. So if you've seen any studies about like how humans communicate with plants, like if you tell a plant love, if you give a plant love, then it grows better. If you give a plant hate, it'll start growing worse or something. Yeah, it'll grow worse. So you get the idea, right? So basically, what they're doing is that they're saying it's Halloween all the time, it's fall all of the time, you always need to be harvesting. And what they're doing is that they're putting themselves in a frequency where they communicate with plants to prevent the winter sleep from actually happening. And that is really bad, because if the earth does not sleep, then it cannot come back into the spring and actually start producing more of what we need. And as everybody knows, like, everybody thinks like fruit is really expensive, produce can be really expensive, right? Like those things of berries can be really expensive, and it's like not a lot, right? So that's why we have so many issues around that. Yeah, it's not Halloween all the year. You can't just tell the earth to constantly harvest. I mean, like, so say for yourself, like if you were constantly at work and you never went home and you never went to bed and you never had any sleep, you're not going to be able to produce anything good. So that's why that's like a huge problem, and people think it doesn't matter, but it actually does, because all of the vegetation and the plants around you can feel how you're feeling. They can. Humans are very connected with the earth. So they also tried to convince people that like I've seen goth people like say like, oh, Satan loves you, and the upside down pentagram, right? Or like the star, the upside down star. And that's actually really, really, really bad. So being satanic, that's not good. Not good at all. It promotes like a survival mindset. Like, you're always in survival mode. You're always like having anxiety. You're always panicking. That you worship the material plane more than you actually worship what is happening on your inside. Basically, they like to advertise it as like, oh, we understand your flaws. Satan loves you. We understand that you're not perfect. That's basically how they like to portray it, but it's actually so bad. It's actually so bad. So the upside down star means that you worship the material plane, more than you worship actually your soul inside and your heart. Okay, really bad stuff. And then they also are like, oh, well, church is too much. Or they like to give people the idea that worshiping God or loving God is like too much. And they relate it to church. But real God worship is not related to any religion at all. Real worship to God and real light and like being good, if you are genuinely like a good person, um, it has nothing to do with religion. None of this actually has anything to do with religion. Um, and that's what they like to say, that, like, oh, I'm not religious, or going to church is too much for me. Nobody wants to go to church. Nobody wants to do that. Or like following God and making God happy is too hard. They always act like this is all too hard or too much, but they're thinking of the way that involves religion, but not actually the way that involves maintaining your spirit and your mental health and your body, because that's going to be real God, and it has nothing to do with any type of religion at all. So, I hope that made sense to people. Because like real worship to God means that you are virtuous and that you are angelic, and it's definitely not too hard. Like maybe at the beginning when you're starting out, it's hard. Like when you play an instrument, when you learn a new instrument, yeah, at the beginning is going to be a little hard, but then if you keep doing it, it gets really easy and really fun. So yeah, I was never able to play piano really well, but I kept playing piano and now I'm really good at it and I have a lot of fun and I really enjoy it, and now it's easy. So I just wanted to clear up all that confusion. People seem like still really confused, and I really hope I can help someone.